Right. Well, you escaped from prison 5 times.
Yes.
Okay. At one point, you got shot in the back?
I got shot, yes.
With a shotgun?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How are you escaping all these times?
I don't know. You got to do it right. You can't even blink. You got to do it. They don't expect it from an old guy gray-headed and just go.
Okay. But eventually, you end up getting caught. And what was the longest sentence that you ended up getting?
I got caught again after I escaped from that courtroom, and they handcuffed me this way and left me there all night until the next day. My arms were so burning I couldn't even get them down. And so I got shipped up to Germany, and I got 8 years for using a German citizen in an international crime. He was the captain of a ship that hauled hashish from Morocco to England. And that was it. And they told on me, he told on me, Howard told on me. So that's how that went. So after I got 8 years, after 1 year, I escaped from Lübeck maximum security prison in Lübeck, Germany. Went between the bars and jumped down on top of a machine gun tower, across the wall and into a pile of sand that was piled up, and got away there. Got back to Holland.
Right. I mean, all combined, you served 33 years in prison in 26 different prisons in 7 different countries and 4 continents.
That's right.
So you were just basically locked up everywhere.
They just like a ping pong ball from one place to the other.
Well, in 1993, Pablo Escobar gets killed.
Yes.
By, I guess, the Colombian police and the DEA working together.
I think he killed himself. You can see the white mark on the head where the powder burns right in his temple. He shot himself.
Oh, you think he shot himself before?
Yeah, he was the end of the line. He wasn't going to be tortured by them people.
How did you feel when you heard about his death?
I didn't care.
Okay. And then in 1996, Howard Marks, who ended up cooperating against you, he actually wrote a book called Mr. Nice.
Yes.
Did you read it?
Yes.
Were you in it?
It was all right. Pretty good. It's the first one of that genre.
Yeah. Were you mentioned in the book?
Yes. He mentioned me a couple of times.
Okay. How did you feel when you actually...
Oh, Howard was all right. I liked him, but we'd done some big loads together. We'd done 20-ton loads out of Thailand. We did the 10-ton loads out of Pakistan, hashish. And then for him to turn me in on a 2-ton deal out of Morocco I just couldn't believe it. I kept going back to him. And every time I go back to him, I get arrested. I just absolutely couldn't believe it was him.
Okay. And in 2001, you get out of prison?
No, I must have got out in 99.
99.
And then I was out 2 years. And then I took a load of cocaine to Australia.
Okay, this is using an oil rig?
There was one of the offshore supply vessels. Mm-hmm. When they get 40 years old, they can't use them anymore. So they're priced almost at scrap. These things are pristine, like museum pieces. And I bought that one and filled it up with fuel and went to Australia. Went around the Cape of Good Hope, Africa, and went out to the west coast of Australia and sunk it and went ashore with rubber boats. And the offloader was waiting with the federal police. And there I got a life sentence.
Okay, why go back to drug dealing after doing all that prison time?
I don't know. It just seemed like maybe I needed some money. And it's a lot of money, and it's so easy to make if somebody don't tell on you.
Yeah.
Really, the doing it is almost a piece of cake, but I found out you just can't trust your fellow man. And if he's caught and they offered him life, he'll tell on you.
Right. So you get caught for that, and then you're given life in prison?
Life, yes.
Okay. And how much time did you end up serving off that?
I served 18 years there and another year when I came back here.
Aha. Also 18 years in Australia?
Right.
Okay. Then you came back for another year. Uh-huh. So you get out what year?
I got out 2 years ago.
2 years ago, 2020.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. How did it feel to come out after all that time?
I would suppose if you was a blind man and you received your sight, it would be something similar. I'd like to tell you just a little bit about it. I came home, and of course I hadn't seen my wife for many years. She'd come down to Australia to see me, and they arrested her for had too much money.
Oh.
So she said, "It said to you have over $5,000 in Australian money." I had none. I had $11,000 US. So they charged her and took her money, and now she's a felon in Australia. So just to bother me. So she didn't come back. And so for many years, I didn't see her except writing letters and talk to her every day on the phone. But when I came home, I came in and she had a meal cooked. And I went in to change clothes. And in the closet was all my clothes. These clothes I'm wearing now from 40, 50 years ago. Mm. And they were all cleaned and hanging there, and my shoes were shining on the floor. And I put my clothes on, something nice that I could put on, and I tied the shoes and I stepped out, and the tops of the shoes stayed with me and the soles stayed on the floor. All the strings had rotted. And I sat down in the same oak table that I had refinished years and years ago, and the same placemats and the same plates and silverware and the same paintings on the wall. And she's sitting there. I just couldn't quit crying. Every time, I couldn't even look at photographs of her when she was 40, when she was 50, when she was 60, when she was 70. I was all in prison all those years. And the children, after about 3 days, I said, man up. You got to quit crying. You got to get used to this. But things would just touch my heart. And it was just like unbelievable that I'd be out of that place.
Well, when I interviewed Freeway Ricky Ross, he told me something interesting. He said that when he first got locked up and he got life in prison, it was because of his plug ended up testifying against him.
Yes.
You know, the guy who he made millions and millions of dollars with. And when he first got there, he was just angry and he felt it was unfair. And here's this guy that he was so close to and he helped out and so forth that he ended up snitching on him. But after a while, he had an epiphany where he said, well, I can't be mad about being snitched on in the drug game because that's part of the drug game. If
Absolutely.
you decide to sell drugs, you're almost guaranteed to be snitched on. So you can't get mad at that. You have to accept that this is part of the game.
So what he did is he only did what people do in the drug business. They tell. They set you up. And for somebody to go into the drug business and not understand that, which I was in the drug business and didn't understand it, but I came to grips with it.
And then once he accepted that, that's when he started to really take control of his own life. He learned how to read and write for the first time. He started, basically looking into the whole CCE charge and realized that he was being charged twice for the same thing. And that's how he was able to get out. In terms of you, when you started getting locked up and so forth, and these are people who you were close to, who you still talk well about, were snitching on you, was there an anger in the beginning that you eventually got over, or did the anger sort of persist?
I don't know what it was anger. It was just like a sick feeling, like, God, I love that person. He was just my dear friend, brother. How could he tell on me? And then later on, it took some years before you just say, all right. Yeah, remember the time that you was with him? And I have a friend named Jerry. And I called up sometime, Jerry, this guy's an asshole. And he said, Roger, I want you to remember one thing. In this business, if you don't deal with assholes, you're going to be lonely. But some of the people that I had were just wonderful. People were not criminals whatsoever. They might well be like Sunday school teachers, good people, Christians. They'd meet my plane and unload it and that and the other. And it just didn't feel criminal. And now it's not. It's legal.
Right. You actually didn't consider yourself a criminal.
Didn't feel like it a bit.
Right. Because you weren't cheating or stealing or
lying or doing nothing.
No violence. You didn't shoot anybody. You didn't torture or kill anybody. But what you were doing was clearly criminal.
Yes, it was against the law. Yeah. Now it's not.
Well, cocaine still is.
Yes, but I'm saying some of it. I put on the YouTube when my wife and I was driving down the road, and there was a huge sign that says, relax, we deliver your marijuana to your house. Right. So I got under it and I said, look at this, after 30 years in prison, first line I see is, we deliver it to you.